Hello, if you're just coming in, we're going to get started in a couple of minutes, but just to make sure that you can hear us okay, you should be able to hear Terry as well if you speak. Terry, you there?
Hi, folks.
And if you can hear us okay, just give us a shout in the chat box, let us know that the sound is working okay. Should be able to hear us and see the screen as well. Just let us know in the chat box if you can see us and hear us. Give us a yes, and we're going to get started very, very shortly. Just going to allow the final few people to log on, get their sound working. So again, if you're just coming in, if you can hear us and see the screen, give us a yes or a hello in the chat box, just to let us know that everything is working okay.
Great. So hi Cheryl, hi Mickey, hi Serge, hi Edward, hi Mike, hi Christian, hi Marcus, Monica, Liz.
Awesome. If you're just joining us, we're just going to get started very shortly. Just want to check that the sound is working okay for you. If you can hear us and see the screen, just give us a hello in the chat box just to let us know.
Hi Liz, hi Monica, hi Michael, John, Mike, Paul, Tanya, Serge, Edward. Just type in the box. Hello Charles, David. Good afternoon or good morning if you're in North America area. Good afternoon if you're in Europe.
Again, going to get started in about 20 seconds. If you just joined us, just want to make sure the technology is working okay for you. If you can see the screen and hear us okay, just give us a hello in the chat box. So we know everything's working and we know that we're good to go. So quite a few familiar faces as well, and a few new ones.
Hi, Ali.
Awesome. So look, let's get started. So look, Mike said I can't see anyone else's chat. It's because the chat, unless you've changed your settings, is going just to the panelists, which are me and Terry. You can change it if you want, but it's completely up to you. But we can see your chat, Mike. So it's all working for us. Awesome. So look, let's jump right in. This is a free training, free online crash course that we put together. It's called Atomic Authority. It's really what we're going to be talking about is how to take your recruitment search business from an undervalued commodity to becoming the most sought after in-demand authority in your niche. And it's it's a topic that we are, it's one of my favorite topics actually, authority and position in the marketplace. And there's a few things that we really want to share with you based on, I guess, what we see and work with our clients and the recruitment and search managers that we work with across the world. But before we sort of jump into that, let's still sort of just look at why we've decided to put on this training. First and foremost, as we said, it's one of our favorite topics, but I think, the way the current economy is going, with everything that's going on in the world this year or over the last sort of 12 months or so, I think, we can all see that there's more and more new recruitment businesses entering the market than maybe at any other time. In a time where the global economy is, arguably contracting. So the supply's getting bigger, but the demand's getting smaller. And basically what it means is that, if you're a recruitment or search business owner, the need for you to be able to stand out, set yourself apart from everyone else in your market, all the new people coming in, even the more established firms that have been around for a while, whether you're new yourself or whether you're established, you need to be able to set yourself apart. You can't set yourself apart, you'll become a commodity. And when you're a commodity, you can't get the fees you want, you can't get the clients you want, and you end up in this, a lot of time competing on price, competing on the lowest fee, not really working with the clients you want to work with, not getting the volume of business that you want to work with. And everyone here on this call will probably experience working with, non-desirable clients. You end up with more of those than the clients that you really want, the desirable ones who respect you, appreciate the value that you bring to the table, are happy to pay your fee. A term that we often use is that they see you as the paid expert that they want to take advice from, rather than the hired help, where they've ever been in a situation where you feel like there's people telling you how to do your job or stopping you doing your job in the best way possible, even though you're the expert. That's really, the key reasons why we've decided to put this on. Terry, anything you would, well, two things. First of all, does that make sense? Give me a yes or no in the chat box. And Terry, anything you would add to that?
Yeah, we work with recruitment and search firm owners from all over the world in most English-speaking countries. And we work with a number of recruiters, what we call, in the UK, we call them rec to rec. So these are guys that recruit for other recruiters. And one of the feedback that we're getting at the moment is that a lot of recruitment firms are letting go their consultants, the consequence of which these recruiters who were employed are now going off on their own. So you've got more competition now probably than any other time. Added to which, as Drew rightly said, the market is contracting. And there's nothing worse than you talking to a hiring manager and you're talking about what that hiring manager needs, and that hiring manager is saying to you, what's the best fee that you can come up with? Because the moment you're having that conversation, all that hiring manager is seeing you as is a commodity. And if it's going to be purely on price, that's not a really good place to be starting. In fact, one of the things that we would encourage you to do, and we'll show you how you can do something like that, is that hiring managers that say things like that, you should do your utmost best to avoid them and actually repel them in your marketing. The hiring manager wants the cheapest candidate. They probably don't want the best candidate. They probably don't want the best candidates, because we kind of acknowledge that you can't have both. And this is what this is all about. Stop being a commodity. It's so easy for these other recruiters right now to enter the market. Hell, we all know this. You just need a computer and a few job board, access to a few job boards and a telephone and a desk, I guess, and you can call yourself a recruiter. The cost of entry is so low to actually enter the market. So it's imperative that you get this right. Otherwise, all that's going to happen is that there's going to be less business for you. And when you do get a shout of some business, it's going to be all about your fee. And that's the last thing that you want. But we'll show you exactly what to do to overcome those challenges.
Awesome. So I just want to sort of check in to get a feel for the room. I can see, a few familiar faces, a few current clients actually, Mickey, Sandra. But I just wanted to get a feel like, is this, do you know who we are and what we do? If you've sort of been to one of our trainings before, you know who we are. Just give me, just write old in the chat box. And if this is your first time experiencing the amazing Terry and Drew, write new in the chat box. I just want to get a feel of how familiar you are with our work. So new, if it's your first time hearing us. Right, old or familiar or experienced if you've seen us before, you've been around our world before. Let us know. Okay, bit of a mix. Okay, so for those of you who this is your first time hearing us, and I guess for those of you that may be familiar but don't know us that well, just to explain what we do. My name's Drew Edwards.
And of course, my name's Terry Edwards. And I'm the better looking and more intelligent one of the two, as you've probably gathered by now.
Every webinar, you have the same joke. Anyway, so yeah.
We all know it's true, but anyway.
Terry and Drew Edwards, we're the co-founders of a company called MakeMorePlacements.com. Essentially, what we do, what we specialize in is we help recruitment and search owners make more placements for higher fees with less work and fewer days. We do that by focusing on three core things. One, we help you get more conversations with interested hiring managers or hiring leaders in your market. Secondly, we help you convert more of those conversations into new clients for the right fee and on the right terms. And three, we help you build systems and processes to, make you do all of that without sucking time and energy away from you as the business owner. So that's a sort of very brief elevator pitch, whatever you want to call it, a very brief overview of what we do. Usually when you attend a webinar like this, what you have is the presenters will spend 15 minutes talking about who they are, not just who they are, like we've just talked also how good they are and the results that they've been able to get, and why you should listen to them. And although we see the importance of that, because you need some sort of context when we're going to deliver this training, I also think it's two things. One is that it's a waste of time. I don't want to spend 15 minutes talking about ourselves when it should be about you. Secondly, I think that it's not really important the results that we've been able to get for ourselves, but I think what's more important, what speaks volumes, is the results that we've been able to get for our clients, the recruitment search managers we work with. So if it's okay with you, so I want to show you a quick 2-minute video with just a handful of our clients talking about the results we've been able to get to them. If that's okay with you, give us a yes in the chat box. If it's not, teaching leave. David?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Right, let me just play this quick video then.
Can't hear anything, Drew. Drew?
No sound?
No sound, no.
All right, 2 seconds. I didn't want this time, so I have to skip it. Let me give it a try.
What I would say to anybody is, listen, you know, if you're prepared to put in the hard work, change some of the habits that you have, pick up the phone to you guys. Because for me, it's been, you know, transformational. I'll give you an example. My turnover in the first 6 months of this year was more than double my turnover in the whole of the previous year. And also, from a lot of the other work that we've done, my profitability, percentage-wise, was 20% higher than it had been in the previous year.
Highly recommend it to everyone, because it just, for us, it meant that the missing link was there. It means that it might be a bit difficult to say on that, but I would definitely say, and we just finished a 12-week program. It definitely meant a 10 to 20% boost already. Let's say 10%, but a lot is still in the pipeline.
And Terry, so I've been in the recruitment search industry since 1997, so over 20 years. And I have to answer the question in the time frame to a degree that we're in because of the coronavirus COVID-19 scenario. That said, if we track at the end of the year what we've done for the first 6 months of this year, we will have grown the business by about 25% to a third over the same time frame last year. Even with the, and I had to put the framework around that because it's even with the pandemic comment, I would absolutely say this is some of the best training. And by the way, I've taken quite a few trainings over the past 20 years from quite a few seasoned experts, and they've all had very good points and things that they brought, you know, into my frame of thinking, but this has really truly been at the top of the list, and I would wholeheartedly encourage others to take advantage of the program.
Than ego, every time I've done what I thought best versus what Mr. Edwards has thought best, has outperformed me quite significantly. And although, and that's what matters, right? It's not about what I like or what you like, well, what people think is right. It's what works. That's the only useful measure.
Awesome. So look, what we want to sort of make clear is that, you know, not everything, not all the results they got was based on authority, but a big part of what we work on behind the scenes with the recruitment search managers we work with is the authority they have in the marketplace. To get your authority right, one, you'd have more, you know, clients coming to you, which is obviously a great thing. It's an obvious way to grow your business. But two, you can, you know, because the volume's there, you can handpick the clients you work with. So you actually get more enjoyment because you're only working with clients that you love, that share your values, you enjoy working with. Three, you can charge the fee you want. And four, it just helps you stand out in the marketplace. So you're not dealing with some of the challenges that if you are viewed as a commodity by your prospects, some of the challenges that you will inevitably face. So anything you'd add to that?
At this stage, Drew, you kind of covered it well there.
So I just want to check in. Does that make sense? Give me a yes or no in a chat box. I want to make sure that we are all on the same page. Awesome. Good stuff. So look, let's sort of jump right in. There's three pillars to your authority in the marketplace that we're going to sort of be digging into today on this call. But one is your mindset, how you think, what you believe, you know, about your business, about the industry, but also about yourself as well. Two is your marketing. So this is the, you know, any communication that you're putting out to your prospects, you know, what you say, how you say it, all of that obviously has an impact on how you're viewed in the marketplace. Then lastly, we've got demonstration, right? A big chunk of authority is you being able to demonstrate that you can deliver the results you say you can. right? You've been able to deliver the results you say you can. So a big part of it is demonstration as well. How can we demonstrate that you as the experienced recruiter should be trusted by your prospects, right? So just two things. Terry, anything to add to that? Before Terry chimes in, kind of get a score out of 10, right? So I just want to survey the room. How would you mark your service out of 10? 10 being, exceptional, 1 being, extremely poor. Giving you a mark out of 10, how you, the service that you give to clients and your ability to deliver on your promises. Okay.
That's okay. So if you look at the first one, mindset, which in my opinion is the most important thing, and we constantly say this, that your success is an inside job. It's what's going on in your head. And to give you an example of that, we have we're introducing the program very shortly to create £1 million recruiters, or $1.2 US dollars recruiters. These are solo recruiters. Now, here's what's interesting. Some of the people we're talking to about this are saying that is impossible to do. Other guys are saying, I'm really interested in this, and they're coming into it with a completely different mindset. So we've got the evidence that shows that a solo recruiter can bill $1 million. But the big part of it is just your thinking. That's just one example. Because whatever you believe is true. So if you believe, as some recruiters do, that all clients buy on price, you'll find evidence to prove that. If you believe, though, that you're to offer a superior service and some clients will pay you 35% of the final salary, that's also true. But guess what? If you believe that clients only buy on price, you're never going to get fees of, the higher fees, because your belief is that clients will only buy on price and they won't pay more than 18% or 17%. So it's just one example in terms of mindset. And we're going to a few more things. Do you want me to go through the others as well, Drew, or just leave it there on the mindset?
Just leave it there for now, but I do want to hear from the room. How do you, so I've heard from a couple of you, but how do you score your service out of 10? 10 being exceptional, 1 being poor. Let me know in the chat box, participate. If you want to get the most out of this training, get involved. Let me know, just give me a number in the chat box. 10, your service is exceptional. 1 is that, you really shouldn't be a recruiter. I want to get a gauge of where we are. Okay, so look, 8, 7, 9, 9, 9, 8, 9. Awesome. So 9. Brilliant. Good stuff. So before we jump in, just a quick disclaimer, but this isn't going to work for you if you believe this is going to get you results without you putting any effort in. It's not going to work for you unless you're committed about actually growing your business. A big part of it is not going to work for you if you're timid, faint-hearted, and willing to ruffle a few feathers or go against the industry norms, right? You can't stay within the industry norms, be the same, but also want to be different. It doesn't work like that. And, part of having authority in the marketplace is standing out. We're going to be going for about 60 minutes, so about 40 more minutes from now. There's going to be no sales pitch at the end. What I will say, though, is that, because it's a 60-minute training, right? We're just going to be scraping the surface. If you do want to know more, if you find it useful and you do want to know more, what I will suggest is that you either reach out to us or reach out to somebody else. What I don't want, and I think is a waste of, your time, is, come to this training thinking it's useful. And what we get a lot of is people that just don't implement, don't take it any further. And if there's one thing that all of our clients say to us, after we start working, it's like, oh, I wish I'd done this 6 months ago. I wish I'd done it 6 years ago, right? They always wish they took action sooner. So again, what I want from you is that if you don't find it useful, fine. But if you do, take action on what we share. Again, do you all agree to take action? Give me a yes or no in the chat box. If it's a no, you may as well sort of save your time and just leave. But give me a yes if you actually are committed to growing your business. Awesome. Terry, anything you'd add to that?
Yeah, people always ask us, what's the secret? What's the difference that makes a difference? Why is, what is it that some recruiters do that they can literally treble their sales over a 12-month period of working with us? And it's really simple. They simply implement what we share with them. And I always use a scenario going to the gym. There's no point you joining the gym, not using the gym, and eating and drinking the wrong things, and then playing that the gym doesn't work. It's not the gym you get, it's you. And this is exactly the same. If you implement what we share with you, you'll get the results.
Yeah. So let's look at the first one, which is authority mindset, and how you think about your service in the marketplace. So look, having authority is really come down to position, how you're positioned in the market. And when it comes to positioning, there's really three types of positioning. There's what we call self-positioning, which is how you view yourself, right? So most of you have said sort of, 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, how you view yourself in the marketplace, right? But this is not about just the surface, it's not about how you view it's the deeper, I guess, implications of that, deeper meaning behind that, because most people say that they value themselves highly, but then what you'll find by the way they market their business, the way they price their services, the way they act, it doesn't quite ring true. Terry, anything you'd add to that?
Yeah, here's an example of that. Just on the pricing alone, to sort of confirm what you said there. See, here's a fact. No, you cannot charge any more than you believe you're worth. So if you don't believe you're worth 25, 35% of the final salary, then you have a challenge with charging that. And this is all about self-positioning. That's just one example. Whatever fee you're getting now is merely a reflection of what you think you're worth. And before you counter and want to argue with that, see, if a client says to you, here's a deal, you can have this business, you can have it at 10%, I can guarantee there's some recruiters on this call that would go to hell. Hell will freeze over first before I work with you at 10%. Other recruiters, maybe not on this call, but there are recruiters out there that say, actually, I'll consider that, or yes, we've got a deal at 10%. The difference is just that's positioning, that's all. That's all it is. That's just one example of self-positioning, your own personal self-worth. Cheers, Drew.
Yes. So if you truly believe that you're one of the best in the market, you're able to get the clients the results you want, your self-positioning and what you do, how you act, how you behave, how you demonstrate that needs to be, they need to be in sync. We've all sort of, spoken to people either in business or personal life that say that they're really good at something, say that they're best at something, then the way they behave, speaks volumes to the other way, right? So, again, pricing is one of the obvious ones where you can see it, where someone, again, give me yes and no in the chat box. Have you ever been in a position where you're buying something or someone's selling something to you and they're telling you how good it is, telling you how it's the best in the market, it's so good, but then they price it too low that you get suspicious and you start thinking, if it's so good, it's as good as you say it is, then why is it, you start looking for flaws in it, right? The same thing's happening with your service if you've got your self-positioning wrong, right? You go out there saying that you're 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10 service, but then a client will say, hey, look, we need a reduction on fees, or a client will say, we want to do it this way, and they're changing the way you deliver your service, or a client will say, anything, it could be anything, right? And you let them take control of the situation, and it all comes down to, effectively self-esteem. How do we really view ourselves in the market? And I used to think that, I used to think that self-position didn't really matter. I used to think it didn't really matter how you view yourself. It's more important about how the clients view you. But, over the years, I've realized that everything you do, every action you do and don't take with the marketing, with how often you put yourself out there, how aggressively or proactively you put yourself out there, all comes down to self-positioning. Even down to not asking for the fee you want, not asking for the sale at all, not asking for the terms you want. Right, and the truth is, although most people, sorry Terry, will score high when you say that, how do you market your service? If you look at their behaviour within the business, and I want you to sort of reflect on yours in terms of how they're negotiating with clients, how they're speaking to clients, how they're marketing the business. Actually, it tells a different story. Is there anything to add to that?
Yeah, Jenny's just shared in here, and I know who Jenny is actually. She told me this story where she did a mass email to a potential client saying, as we're going through this pandemic, what we're going to do, we're going to offer a substantially discounted rate. And a potential hiring manager coming back to her and literally called her out and said, if this rate is as low as it is, you can't be a very good recruiter. That's what the hiring manager said without even engaging them. And she said in the chat here, I now regret offering a cheaper rate due to COVID to one of her clients, because I actually came back and said, you can't be very good if you're lowering your rates. See, because we know intellectually that you can't be good and cheap. So having low rates, all you're saying is, I'm one of the cheaper recruiters. I'm not as good as some of the others.
Then we've got market positioning, which is effectively, so self-positioning is how you view yourself in the market. market positioning is how your clients view you in the market, what they think of you, what their perception of you is, if they even know you exist, right? Because it's all, you know, I think we speak to dozens of recruiters weekly, right? Every single day of the week, you know, Monday to Friday. And one thing that I'd say is that recruiters in general have a massive belief about how good they are and their ability to deliver, which is a good thing. I don't think you should set up a business if you don't believe that. But the one problem they have is, you know, getting their clients to see the value that you can deliver. Because it's all well and good you knowing how good you are, knowing that you can find the best candidate, knowing that you can deliver the best results. But if your client or the market doesn't think that, then, you know, there's a problem. We're never going to be able to get the fee we want. We're never going to be able to get the clients we want. And, you know, quite frankly, there's people in the market right now, in your market, in your niche, working with your clients who they're less experienced than you are. They've got, you know, they're worse recruiters. They're getting worse results than you, but the market views them better, right? The market views them more highly than you, so they're winning the business over you. Does that make sense? Give me a yes or no in a chat box. And Terry, anything you want to add to that around market?
Yeah, just about so that Jenny, I was talking about Jenny doing a mass email offering a lower rate. She just informed me it wasn't a mass email. She sent one email to one individual offering a discounted rate, and they said, you know, you can't be offering a very good service. I just wanted to clarify that. Thanks for letting me know that, Jenny. I appreciate that. And just going on in terms of marketing position, so I think you've got some really good points there, Drew. And here's what we know. You can be the best search firm and the best recruiter in the world with the best candidates. But if your potential clients have never, ever heard of you in terms of your position in the market, it counts for absolutely nothing. And it's one of the reasons that the majority of recruiters don't get the business that they want is because their potential clients have never, ever heard of them. And I can tell you now, if they've never heard of you, you're never going to get the business, ever. Especially search firms that are looking for fees of, you know, 30, 35% on big salaries of 150, 200,000. Not going to happen.
Again, just want to check in, just want to hear from all of you. Does that make sense? Give me a yes or no in the chat box. I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. You are actually following before we move on. Okay, perfect. Awesome, good. And lastly, we've got competitor positioning, which is really like how your competitors view you in the marketplace, right? Again, you know, you can think you're the best, your clients can view you as the best. You know, you probably right now got competitors in the market who you know that you're better than them, right? You know that you can do a good service. You know that they're not probably getting the best results for the clients they're working with. But, you know, it doesn't matter because they're winning the business over you, right? Again, that's competitor positioning. There's competitors who think the same about you. Again, ultimately, although the competitor positioning exists, it's completely irrelevant, right? The only two of these that are relevant and the only two of these that we can control and should be looking to control are self-positioning, which is down to your mindset, what you think of yourself and your actions, and then market positioning, you know, what's the perception of the market in terms of the service that we offer. So that's what we're going to be really focusing on sort of going forward. I just want to check in, who here has worked with, you know, either in the past or even currently, a client that they don't, you know, if they had a magic wand, they wouldn't work with this client. They'd rather not be working with this client. So, you know, whatever a nightmare client is for you, give me a me in the chat box if you ever worked with a client like this. So again, a few examples. Maybe they're constantly asking you to reduce fee. They're not giving you feedback on time or at all. They're paying late or not at all. Terry, again, give me some examples of how
not giving feedback is a good example. Changing the job spec halfway through, saying, oh yeah, these candidates are okay, but we've kind of changed things a bit. Absolute pain in the butt. And just making ridiculous demands. You get things like, yeah, I'm looking for an ND of a part of our business. We're going to pay them 25,000. Well, you won't get anybody at 25,000. Well, we think we can, and we want you to do the work. I mean, I call them bloody impossible clients. They just, and when they call you, if you see an email from you, you're filled with dread. There's just the very thought or sight of their name fills you with dread. Mike saying it's a client's prerogative to change mine. Absolutely, yeah, you're absolutely right. Do you want to do that now, Drew? Should we come back to it?
You can cover it.
Yeah. So I think it's Mike. You're absolutely right. It's always a client's prerogative to change their mind. But if they're changing their mind and ultimately they end up just being a pain in the butt, and we're going to cover this in a bit more detail, you don't have to work with them. And I want to be clear about it. Of course they can change their mind, but if they constantly change their mind and make it impossible for you to do what you're meant to do, that's not going to help you.
Yeah, and again, a bad client for you or me may not be a bad client for somebody else. So it is down to perception. But, you know, what I can say looking at the chat box here is that the majority of us, and, you know, including ourselves in this, have worked with a client that falls in under the bad category for whatever reason, right? Could be a number of reasons, could be one reason, but they're actually, ideally, they're clients that you wouldn't want to work with at all if you didn't have to, right? So if you've ever had a client like that, or you still have clients like that, then here's sort of 4 things that you need to understand. Is, you know, one, you know, the reason they're in your business right now is because you attracted them. The messages you're putting out in the marketplace, how you're marketing your business, how you're promoting your business, your terms, everything about you that they can see publicly, you know, you're attracting a certain type of person, right? Secondly, you know, even when you attract these people, it's you that have to accept them into your business. Again, you have probably had conversations with prospects, and, you know, they maybe even want to buy from you, but there was something about them that you didn't quite click. You had suspicions about them from day one. And again, if you're like us, you've probably been in a situation where you have suspicions about them, and then later on down the line, they've approved, demonstrated that those suspicions were correct. And, you know, they've let you down in some way, or they've paid you late, or whatever it is. Again, so when you're speaking with clients or potential clients, you have to accept them into your business. So again, it's important that you understand that. Thirdly, you allow their behavior by the way you set up by the way the relationship is established, by the way you set terms, everything. You allow their behavior, whatever that behavior happens to be. And lastly, you tolerate it, right? So somebody here in the chat said, you know, when we're saying who's worked with bad clients, they said me, but just bin them off this week, right?
Awesome.
So it's important to understand that, you know, if you're working with bad clients at the moment, or have in the past, or whatever, if they'll find yourself in that situation ever again, you can get rid of a client. You can expel, fire a client from your business, right? You don't have to work with people like this. I mean, again, this comes down to self-positioning, right? Your client, you know, it's a relationship, right? So the same way in your personal life, if people don't treat you the way that you feel like you deserve to be treated, you may, you know, if you're a friend, for example, you say, look, you know, I'm not going to be friends with you anymore, or I'm not going to be in a relationship with you anymore. The same goes for clients. So check in. Does that make sense? Give me a yes or no in the chat box. And Terry, anything you'd add to that?
Yeah, so the example of how you can attract these type of clients, you sometimes see this when people put on their website or on their LinkedIn profile, we will not be beaten on price. What type of client do you think you're going to attract when you say we will not be beaten on price? When you put your terms all over your website, again, you'll position yourself as a commodity. The other one you sometimes see, and we've all seen them, these fixed fee recruiters that say, we'll recruit any position at $1,000 or £1,000. 200,000 salary? Yeah, we'll do that for 1,000. You're attracting a certain type of client. You accepting them. There's a saying that Drew and I live by, and it's this: how you do anything is how you do everything. See, often these type of clients will behave in a certain way quite early on. So, example, they might keep you waiting for 15 minutes for a meeting. So, the 15 minutes for a meeting. Do you know what? That's just an indication of how they behave in other areas. And unless you call them out there and then, and if you accept that, you're going to get that on a regular basis. And the same with allowing that behavior. You know, if they ask you examples, send me through the CVs or the resumes, and I'll get back to you in the next 24 hours. And then a week later, you still haven't heard from them, and you just accept that. You allow that to happen. That's going to continue, because at some level you're saying that's okay. And as Drew said, ultimately, you don't have to tolerate that. Whoever you're working with, if you're working with a lousy client right now, that you have to acknowledge that is your choice. Because whenever you want to, you can say goodbye to that client. And you can say, hey, listen, the way that you work is not quite the way that we operate, so we're going to have to bid you farewell. And I get, if you haven't got business right now, that's difficult to do. But again, you have to acknowledge that's also your choice. Because there are different things you could do to get business. So you don't have to work with that lousy client. You don't have to be in that shitty relationship. you have to acknowledge at some level, well, that's a choice that I've made when you tolerate it.
Again, just want to hear from you all before we move on. Is that making sense? Give me a yes or no in the chat box. Tanya said, most clients I'm no longer working with are ones brought on by one specific. He's no longer with us.
Yeah, that's quite common, that is, by Tanya. But a consultant will consciously or otherwise attract lousy clients. Yeah, it's a really good point.
Awesome. So one thing that we need to understand, one thing we need to understand with your approach, or how you're viewed in the marketplace. We're going to look at market positioning, how you're viewed in the marketplace. There's only really 4 ways that a client will view you, or only 4 sort of categories of perception they may have. One is that you may be obscure, right? So this is probably like the most common one that we see from a lot of recruitment and search managers that reach out to us. Is, and when I say obscure, I mean that if you think about your ideal client, a lot of them probably don't even know you exist. Right? You're obscure to them. They don't have a chance to see how good you are, have a chance to even pitch to them, because they don't even know that you exist. And probably like the vast majority of your market are going to be in this category. Again, so I want to check in. Does that make sense? Give me a yes or no in the chat box. You're obscure. Again, your clients don't know you exist. They're no chat box. That makes sense. Right? That's one of the ways, probably the most common ways that we can be viewed. The other way is, you could be ignored. So they know that we exist, but they're sort of indifferent. They don't really care. They view it as if you ever find yourself being viewed or spoken to or treated as a commodity by a client, this is when you're in this box, right? It's not that they're not speaking. When I say ignored, it's not that they're not speaking to you, but they just don't really, they just view you like everybody else. You don't stand out. You just blend in. Commoditized recruiters. So, when you're in this category, that's when they want to work you on a contingency basis, and make you sort of, you're in competition with 4 or 5, maybe more other recruiters to fill the same vacancy. This is when they're saying things like, well, look, the recruiter down the road is doing it for this fee, so you should be that fee as well. This is when they don't return your calls, all these sort of things where they're just not bothered about the relationship, not really bothered about it. They don't treat you with any sort of respect, right? I just want to check in. Is that making sense? Give me a yes and no in the chat box from Terry at this point. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, just think that Charles saying about, but when I'm doing marketing, why are you still not getting feedback? A couple of things on that first, Charles. Do you want feedback or do you want leads? Personally, I would recommend that you go for leads. Hiring manager says, yes, I'm in the market for what you do. The other thing I'd say to you as well, Charles, is that, and this is for everybody, by the way, most of your marketing will be ignored most of the time. That's a fact. So if you think you can send out 1,000 emails, you're going to have 900 hiring managers banging on your door with a credit card, you're sadly mistaken. Most of the time, most of it's going to be ignored. And you just need to know numbers. So if you think, actually, I'm going to get a 1% response, well, maybe I need to send out more than 1,000, because I'm only going to get 10 leads if I send out 1,000 marketing messages. So how would it be if I was to send out 5,000 and you only get 1%? Because now you're getting 50 leads. So yeah. I think those two things need to be considered, Cheryl.
Yeah. Also, on top of that, if your marketing is getting ignored or you're not getting the leads you want, it's a sign that your marketing is not very good. To be frank, you need to improve your marketing. Yeah. It's difficult to say without seeing, you're doing what you're saying. It's one thing doing the activity, but what's being said. Like it's not just about doing the activity. It's about being, good marketing that gets attention.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. Just very quickly, here's what most recruiters do when they send out a message. Hi, I'm a recruiter. I've been established for 20 years. This is our mission statement. This is our head office. Here's a photograph of our team. I've got some news for you. The hiring manager couldn't care less about you and anything about you. And that kind of message will get ignored most of the time, 95% of the time. Back to you, Drew.
So obscure, ignored, we've got this on one side of the line, and on the other side of the line, we've got hated, right? They could hate everything that you stand for. They don't like your marketing. They slate you in the comments on LinkedIn. They don't really like anything that you stand for. They complain when you send them an email. Again, you may or may not be there for profits in your market where, they don't really like what you stand for, right? It's not anything you've done wrong necessarily. It's just you know, the same way that you might not want to work with a certain type of client, they don't want to work with you as a provider. It could be just down to your fees, whatever it is, right? So what the problem, what most recruiters do is they view being hated as a bad place to be. They view being hated as a bad place to be, which it is in a sense, but it's better than being obscure or ignored, because at least now that they're paying attention. And lastly, the other way you can be viewed is adored, right? Where you've got, you know, you've probably got some clients who fall into this category at the moment. They love everything you do, they're happy to pay your fee, you know, they're loyal to you, they respect you, they value you, they treat you like a partner in your business. Now, one of the problems that recruiters that don't have the authority they want, or who are either being obscure or ignored, is that they're scared of being hated. So they're too scared to cross the line. Too scared to cross the line. And crossing the line means putting yourself out there more frequently, but also doing so that's, you know, or, again, I don't really like this term, it's sort of overused, but authentically you. What do you stand for? What do you believe in? How do you believe, you know, what are your non-negotiables? Right? You have to accept that if you're going to put yourself out there in the marketplace, if you're going to build authority in the marketplace, you also have to accept that some of the market aren't going to like what you say and what you stand for, or the way you do things, or the way you say it. Or even just on this webinar, we've had someone, you know, 5 minutes in, who said, listen, I'm not liking this, get to the point, right? Hated, right? Again, hated is a strong statement, but that's fine, right? Leave. We have to be prepared to tell prospects, look, we're not suited to work together. You know, this is what I stand for. This is the way I want to market my business. This is the way that gets the clients that I do want to adore me. If it doesn't fit with you, then you're not my ideal client. Leave. So I want to check in. Does that make sense? Give me a yes or no in the chat box. And Terry, anything you'd add to that?
Yeah, so here's something to consider. You don't have to be loved by everybody. For most of you here now, if there was a way that you could acquire 2 new clients a month, every month over the next 12 months, that would give you 24 new clients. If each client was worth to you 40,000, ultimately what that means is, by the way, that you're now a £1 million or $1 million business. That's all you need to be adored. So you don't have to be adored by the masses, and the masses you won't be adored by the masses. You just need, you know, in most cases, clients we talk to, they say, Terry, if you can show me a way of acquiring 12, 15 new clients over the next 12 months, that's exactly what I want. That's it. Well, if there's 10,000 prospects out there, you only want 10 or 15. That's it. They're the ones you want to be to adore you, and want to pay the fee that you believe you deserve, and want to work with you on a retained basis and pay you a percentage of the fee up front, and respect you and treat you as an equal. That's it. 10 to 20 clients a year. That's it. So don't get too precious about the guys that hate you or find your presentations boring or whatever. Get over it. It doesn't matter.
Just want to check in. Does this make sense? Let me know in the chat box. Give me a yes or a no. So make sure we're all on the same page before we move on. Give me a yes or no in the chat box. Again, just to sort of reiterate a point, we need to be prepared to be hated. But just to give an example, like when we promote this webinar, this training, you know, we're doing so on LinkedIn, we're doing so by email, we're doing so on Facebook, like everywhere we can. We're saying, look, we've got this training coming up, come along. There's going to be people here right now who are listening and thinking, you know, like, I don't really like their style. They speak too quick. You know, they're talking nonsense. Terry's full of himself. You know, this isn't for me, right? And that's fine. There's other people who are watching the exact same presentation and thinking, you know, they're really hitting home. All makes sense. Terry's actually quite good looking. Not many people think that, but some people will. Terry has to be okay with that, right? If we imagine that we were sort of, you know, worried about the people that wouldn't like it, so much so that we didn't even put a webinar on, right? We get completely ignored. And this is what the majority of recruiters are doing. They think they're the best, they say they're the best, you know, internally, but they won't bother recording a video and putting it on social media, for example, because they're scared of what people might think. They won't bother sending that email. They won't bother asking for the fee they want. They won't bother asking for the sale, even in some cases. These are all sort of your self-positioning having a direct impact on your market positioning. Terry, anything to add to that?
Yeah, so I mean, the other one that always makes us laugh, people have said to us, I can't work with you guys because of your accents. They tend to be Americans that say that. It's like, actually, we haven't got an accent. It's you guys that have the accent. But it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I promise you, it doesn't matter. All you need is a small minority to go, I absolutely adore you. Ask yourself the question, what would it mean if you could acquire 12 new clients over the next 12 months? What would that mean to your business? That's it. So you'll have thousands of people that hate you. So what?
Lillian said, yes, but I guess the whole people-pleasing attitude has to be thrown out if it exists, 100%. You can't. The thing is, you can't be all things to all people. You're not there to please everybody. When you try and do that, you tend to please nobody. This is why the majority of recruiters become a commodity, because they're so scared of stepping outside of the line that they just look like everybody else. Right? They just look the same as every other recruiter in the market. So they can't get the fees they want. But the only way to move away from that is to be prepared. Now, what do you really stand for? And I prepared to do a video talking about it. Right? If you think that contingency is the wrong way to go for a hiring manager, talk about it. If you think hiring managers who work on contingency are stupid, say it. Are hiring managers going to like that? Some of them won't, 100%. But the ones who agree with you or can see your point, they're the ones who are going to buy from you. Then we've got, authority marketing, how we, if we want to, we fix our self-positioning so we're okay with being hated, we're okay with, internally we're okay with our positioning. How do we get that and reflect that into the marketplace? So we've touched on some of these already. There's a few things we need to think about. One, who are you targeting? Who are your ideal clients? Who, again, we need to be clear on who it is that we want to work with, but also who is it that we don't want to work with? Repelling people is equally as important as attracting people. Right? You can't do the attraction part if you're not prepared to repel, as we just spoke about. So anything you'd add to that?
Yeah, so one of the things that we do with our clients is we help write copy, and someone, it's one of our fortes, I guess, is writing sales copy and so on. And I just want to give you an example. So you can send out an email saying, if you're anything like the majority of hiring managers you speak to, you've got some challenges right now in attracting top performers. Hey, but listen, before you read any further, if you're a hiring manager that wants the cheapest candidate, this email probably isn't for you. What will that do? Hiring managers that buy on price and price alone will think, this isn't for me. That's absolutely fine. But you do that deliberately and consciously to repel those guys. But guess what? The guys that continue to read, price isn't the issue for them. And they're the guys that you want to be talking to.
Again, it's about who you're targeting. It's also about when you approach them, when you establish this relationship. Again, a lot of recruiters are only speaking to hiring managers who have vacancies right now and not really thinking about, how can I establish relationships for the future? How can I, building authority takes a while, right? You're not going to meet someone on a Monday and have them sort of, or necessarily believe you and trust you and see you as an authority on the Tuesday. It takes a while. So if you're only going after people on a Monday and they're hiring on a Tuesday, we almost haven't given ourselves enough time to build that. You almost have to play the long game, and at a level accept that, with your marketing, it's not necessarily or not always for the instant result, right? We can't go for instant gratification because we need to give ourselves time to build that authority. There's people on this webinar now, it's their first time hearing from us on this call now, and they might not even reach out to us for a year now. We've got people in our programs right now who, they first heard of us 4 years ago before joining, right? But we have to accept that. It takes time to build authority with some people. There's some people who join after 4 days. Again, that's good as well, but we can't rely on that. Is there anything you'd add to that?
Yeah, just that your hiring managers will engage you when they're ready to engage you, not when you would need them to engage you. And if you call them a hiring manager and they're already looking for an XYZ, if you'll speak to them today and they say, actually, we are looking for, but it also means is they're probably giving that to 4 or 5 of your competitors as well. So your chances of filling it are pretty slim. Your chance of getting on the retained basis are probably non-existent. But how would it be if you talk to a hiring manager today and he or she's talking about their needs for next month? Because they know they're going to engage a recruiter next month. Can you see the edge you've now got? So what would that mean to you then if you're doing that on a regular basis? So every time you reached out to a hiring manager, you're talking about their future needs rather than what they're doing right now. Because what they're doing right now, quite honestly, it's too late for you.
Guess someone check in, is that making sense? If it is, give us a yes in the chat box so we can move on. Let me know what we're saying is making sense. It's a yes or no in the chat box if it's not. Yes, perfect. Okay, let me know if it's not as well. Perfect. Okay. You know, also we need to think about, you know, how we approach them, and how we approach them, also how often we do it, right? An extreme example of this, the way you might be going to destroy your position is, you know, ambulance chasing. You know, if we're gonna sort of position ourselves as an authority, we need to be doing marketing in a way that enables, right? Perception is everything. If we're ambulance chasing, or, you know, the way we market our business doesn't lend itself to position itself as an authority, it's destroying our position in the market every time. Is there anything you'd add to that?
Yeah, and sadly, if you ask most recruiters, how do you get business? They say, well, I go through the job board and see who's recruiting right now. That is ambulance chasing. So I see that the hiring manager is recruiting right now, so I'll give them a call, along with everybody else that's done that as well. So that poor hiring manager, by the way, the average hiring manager gets between 4 to 8 cold calls a day from recruiters. And you see an ad and you think, oh, just give them a call and see if I can jump on this bandwagon as well, along with every other recruiter that's done exactly the same thing. And do you honestly think the hiring manager enjoys getting those calls? In fact, a lot of hiring managers dread putting ads out there for fear of getting those calls, because they know that's what most recruiters do.
Then we've got authority demonstration. So, you know, once we've built up our self-position, built up the market position, how do we demonstrate, you know, effectively how good we are and our ability to get results? There's a few sort of things I want to go over very quickly. You know, one is omnipresence. So, again, there's no real logic to this, but a hiring manager who sees you everywhere, or if your company, your brand appears to be in multiple places, that builds authority. Right, you probably you know, experienced this yourself, where, you know, you get introduced to a brand and all of a sudden you start seeing it everywhere, and, you know, just the very fact that you're seeing it everywhere, it builds trust. Right, this is you know, it's traditional branding. This is what people do. They align themselves with you know, situations or other products that you already trust, so it helps build trust in the mind of the prospect. Right, the same thing would happen to your hiring managers. Omnipresence is a good way to demonstrate authority. We've got thought leadership. So again, it comes down to content. When you're doing content, what opinions are you putting out in the marketplace? How are you demonstrating your ability to understand and solve the problem that your prospects are having? A lot of, you know, you hear the saying a lot, but content is key. What people are doing is, you know, they're just making sure that they're sharing content, sharing news articles that are relevant. But again, we need the context there as well. Not just content, we need context. So if we're going to share an article, we need to give our opinion on it as well, or we need to do a video that's giving our opinion on a certain thing. We can't just share other people's views. That might help build with omnipresence, but it doesn't build authority, because you know, we need to be given our viewpoint on that. So I'm checking, does that make sense? Give me a yes or no in the chat box. Is there anything you want to add?
Yeah, so a good example. Only 2 days ago, I was on Facebook and I'm looking for some coffee, some fresh coffee, and I found saw an ad for fresh coffee, and I've been inundated with ads from that company and other companies offering fresh coffee. Now, you've all been through that on different platforms. Are you aware that you can do the same as a recruiter? There's an example of omnipresence where you look for something and then you see that product or that service again, as well as other companies. And here's it to consider, and all the things that we're sharing with you is that some of your competitors are doing this right now. If you're having problems getting business right now, your competitors are doing this. And they're putting out thought leadership, and they're communicating directly with the hiring manager about the hiring manager's problem rather than all about them. Because the moment you can do that in terms of thought leadership, you're going to get the hiring manager's attention. Because what the hiring manager's thinking is, yeah, that statement or what they've said there really resonated with me. This guy's worth listening to. And then ultimately, the next one you've got here is about testimonials and case studies. So we can talk all day, and you can talk all day about how great you are and what a great service you do. But the most powerful thing you can do is have your hiring managers who you've worked with and where you've delivered and you've exceeded their expectations to talk about what a great job that you do. Because whenever you talk to a hiring manager, by the way, whatever stage you enter that conversation, at some level they're going, yeah, but what if I get this wrong and I engage this recruitment or search firm and they get it wrong? That's inevitably is going through their mind. But then if they've got evidence of other hiring managers very similar to them who've used you and they've got the results that you're looking for, it blows all that away. And it's very subtle the way that it happens. They don't even have to say anything, because when they've got the doubt, they don't say anything. And when it's then blown away, they just like, yeah, I've just got faith in these guys. I know they're going to deliver. And that's often around case studies or testimonials. Cheers, Drew.
Also, we've got sales structure as well for how you're selling your services. Again, you need to take a consultative approach when you're in sales if you want to be perceived as an expert, right? And also your fee structure as well. We spoke right at the beginning about how, you know, something seems really good and then it's the price is just off and it raises alarm bells on your head. Again, all these things need to be aligned. So the position that you're giving out in the marketplace, how good you are, how much of an expert you are, the testimonials, everything. If the fee is then suddenly, the fee or sales structure is then suddenly out of sync, you know, it doesn't help you sales. It raises, you know, warning, red flags. You know, what's going on? Why is this so cheap? Why is this person who's said in the marketplace they're an authority, why are they, you know, a typical car salesman or whatever it happens to be? So check in. Does that make sense? Give me a yes or no in the chat box. I'm here for you, making sure it's making sense. Have you found it useful so far? Let me know in the chat box. Yes or no. If it's a no, you may leave at this point. Probably should have left 20 minutes ago.
Sorry, Joe, I didn't hear what you said then.
So I said, let me know if it's useful. Give me a yes or no. I said, if it's a no, you probably should have left 20 minutes ago.
Oh, okay.
If it's yes, let me know. Okay. Perfect. Awesome. So look, we said right at the beginning that, you know, we're coming to an end now, and we said right at the beginning that if you do find it useful, what we want you to do is, you know, take it, run with it, actually implement what you've heard, what you learn, explore it further. Right? We obviously just scraped the surface, just ran through this really quickly. You know, take the opportunity to go further with it. So, you know, what we're doing is we've set aside some time over the next few days to speak to you personally about, you know, how you can apply these ideas into your recruitment. The search business can really become a leader in your market. So whatever your biggest challenge is around building authority, you know, we've seen it and we're now overcome it. So what we're offering is, you know, just a quick 60-minute telephone call where we look at what you're doing, what's working, what's not, and, you know, essentially help you come up with a plan to reach your income and revenue goals for the remainder of this year and going into next year as well. Right? We'll help you attract the exact clients you want and build the exact authority you want in the marketplace. So if you want to sort of take advantage of this and take this further, you have to be run an ethical business and be good at what you do, right? So if you scored low and we said, you know, how do you rank your service? You know, sort of in the 1s and 2s and 3s, then this isn't really going to be for you. I think, you know, go away and improve your service first. It's only for potentially good recruiters. If you're not a good recruiter, or you don't view yourself as a good recruiter, at least, then this isn't going to be for you. You must be the decision maker in the business. And again, if you want to make full use of this, all main decision makers must be able to attend the meeting. You must be committed to growing your business starting today. You must be willing to invest time, energy, and finances into the growth of your business. Again, a lot of things that we're going to share with you, you can plug in and start working straight away for free. But again, a lot of them are going to be some investment involved as well. So if you're not prepared to invest in the growth of your business, this isn't for you at this time. If that's you, you can book a free session with Terry or one of our experts. And the reason we're doing this is, one, you know, we love helping recruitment and search managers achieve success and the financial success that comes with it. But secondly, like, one of the sort of ways that we grow our business and one of the ways we demonstrate our authority is, you know, getting you on the call, getting you in the meeting, and then showing you what we can do for you, showing you, you know, a step-by-step blueprint of how we can transform your business. And, you know, what we hope is that you're so impressed with what you see, you ask us about becoming a client. And if that's what happens to be the case, then we can discuss it. And if not, and you just want to have the free session, that's absolutely fine as well. But to book yours, if you go to makemoreplacements.com/makemoreplacements.com/start, there's a short few questions to answer just so we can find out a bit more about your business. and then you can book in to speak with us. Obviously, because it's involves our one-on-one time, spaces are limited, so book your slots now, but that's makemoreplacements.com/start. Okay, cool. Is there anything you want to add?
Yeah, some of you guys have asked some questions. Mary, I know you asked a question, we couldn't answer it, but we are running out of time. We did want to honour the time that we said we'd set aside for this. So if you want to go there and book a call, we can answer all your questions. So that's makemoreplacements.com/start.
Good stuff. So thank you for those of you that have booked. For everyone else, makemoreplacements.com/start. Hopefully we'll speak with you soon. Hopefully you enjoyed it today, whether you're booking or not. And yeah, look forward to speaking to you again in the future.
So until next time, folks, take care, take action, and be relentless. Thank you very much for joining us. Bye.